There you go.
All right, good evening. The time is 5:46. It's a special called meeting of the Athens-Clarke County Board of Elections and Voter Registration. The date is January 23rd. First item on the agenda is to adopt the agenda. Chair will entertain a motion.
I so move.
Okay, you have a second?
I'll second.
Motion, Ms. Fambros, second, Mr. Kadir. All those in favor of adopting the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Agenda is adopted. Next item on the agenda. Nobody's here. Next, it's weird with people behind you. Next item on the agenda is public comment. It appears there is no member of the public here wishing to make comment, so we will move on. And the next item is new business. Item number 1 is roles and responsibilities. I guess we'll just turn the floor over to the director. Unless a board member has a comment on roles and responsibilities item. Ooh.
Okay. So, here, good evening. Okay. So yes, I wanted to just kind of go back to the basics of your board. And, just to highlight that, if we had any public here, that we are, our board here in Athens-Clarke County serves as superintendent of elections. There's other different definitions of superintendents and, but here it's our board and it's appointed, one each from each political party, and then 3 are appointed by our mayor and commission. Then there are some counties who have a chief registrar, where there's 2 different, entities that represent the elections and voter registration. But I wanted to just kind of highlight that. As noted, our board, serves as superintendent, and serving as superintendent, that consists of a board that's comprised of 5 members, each serving 4-year staggered terms. There's a chairperson, vice chairperson, and secretary, and they're selected by you, the board, each year. The chairperson and the vice chair may be reelected to serve multiple terms, and there's documentation that is provided through the Secretary of State's office, and that consists of the Great Seals and Commissions, or through the Great Seals and Commissions Coordinator, and the oath of dedimus, and a state ID. And that is provided to the probate judge, who then administers your oath and your loyalty oath. And those both require, both oaths are required before members may vote in a meeting, and you guys already know that. So I'm gonna go through some of these. This is again the list of powers and duties of both the elections and the board itself. Let me see, I missed it. I did, right here. These are just some things that to mention, just in case we had some public. There was a revising of your compensation package. You all are aware of that. It's $250 a month for you, and it requires a meeting, your monthly meeting, and then $120 for training, and that training is offered by the Secretary of State's office, which you all, some of you attend the training, but the code section says that at least one member of the board should attend training. And I'm glad that you all, who all can, are able to attend. And to mention the powers and duties, how the code section 21-2-70, it talks about the powers and duties of the superintendent, but then some of those duties are split where the board conducts many of them, and then a lot of them are carried out by staff or by me, the supervisor or director of elections. This here is just a slide that talks about your interaction with the elections office, that you keep an apprise of decisions that impact the processes that we do, and that you can, of course, observe and give support to us for LNA, the conducting of advanced voting, handle those schedules. And then I serve as your support and attend all of your meetings. We take resolutions from you guys and carry out the duties of elections and voter registration as prescribed by law. Okay. And then the interactions with the attorney's office, that the attorney's office is available to provide legal counsel, of course, and assist with contracts, open records requests, notices, and such, and they will appear in court on our behalf with the state election board, as well as any other hearings that we may have to appear in. So one of the things that I wanted to just kind of give us an outlook of where we need to go to be successful, both us collaborating with you guys. So the one thing that I want to start doing is 7 days prior to your meetings, I will present to you my director's update. On the 6 day prior, I would like to receive a draft agenda from you guys. 5 days prior, I will meet with Rocky.
Business days
Yes,
or calendar?
no,
days?
calendar days. No, I think I said business. Let's do business days. Yes. 5 days prior, I'll meet with Chairman Raffle, and then we will publish the agenda on our website. And then 4 days prior, I will meet with the assistant manager, Jones, and the attorney's office if we need any kind of counsel on the items that you might have. That way we'll be more functional together during our board meetings. And this also just talks about the training, 21-2-100, and there's 12 hours of training, annual training that is required by law. Some additional resources, I've included that you already use. It's the Robert's Rule of Order. You have your Open Records Act, and then the Open Meetings Act, and the records retention. I also highlighted the local act that actually established or developed your board. And then that's House Bill 735. And then House Bill 1055 is the one that added the offices for the board, that established the chair of the board and labeled the position that I carry as the director. I did a little research that I like to share. I'm not sure if I share this with y'all, but this past year we conducted some research on how the Office of the Board of Elections was created. So from 1921 up to 1974, elections were held by probate, which at the time there was referred as the Court of the Ordinary, or the Office of the Ordinary, or Ordinary. So when you look at a lot of the minutes from the commission meetings and such, you'll see those noted as the ordinary. So when elections were carried out. So in between the years of 72 and 76, the office is referred as 3 different departments: voter registrars, elections, and even ordinary. More often than that, the individual is referenced, and it's one person is more often than the office is. So when they were speaking of the ordinary, that was that one person. It wasn't like the office itself. The office is mentioned as Board of Elections. However, prior to unification, it is more so mentioned as the individual. After creation of the board, the commission seemed to combine the purposes of both, which is how the names extended to elections and registration.
So this is 76 till 1990, before the unification.
Yes. And so then in 1993, as I mentioned, is when the board was actually created through that House Bill 735. And then that particular bill established the powers, actually created the board, established the powers and duties of the board. And those powers consisted of registration of voters, absentee balloting processes, the qualifications and terms of the members of the said board. It provides the method for the appointment, resignation, and removal of its members. And then, of course, in House Bill 1055, changed the composition of the selection of the board. It also provided the selection of chairperson of the board and provided the selection removal duties of the supervisor of elections and registration. And then also the other two additional references or resources that I included was your actual bylaws that you'll look at today to see if there's anything that you want to strike or add to. And then there's also policies that you have established. So the next item on your agenda was your mission statement. And I'll read it. And that's something that you, if you would like to consider revising, adding to, or what have you. So it says the ACC Board of Elections shall serve all members of our community, as well as our local, state, and federal governments. We will be sure to consider and meet the needs of groups of people who have historically been marginalized and oppressed in our community. The ACC Board of Elections shall maximize voter and community participation as we ensure access to free and fair elections and protect the integrity of the elections process. To accomplish this, the ACC Board of Elections shall provide high-quality voter education and accurate information, uphold the oaths that were sworn, affirmed, support Athens-Clarke County Board of Elections staff, and do anything else that is necessary to accomplish our mission. A lot to remember. So that's a discussion that if you wish to have, or if it's something you want to wait till the end and talk about, just to
Let's just do it
keep
now.
it flowing.
Let's just
Do it now?
do it now.
Ah, sounds like a good idea.
I have no pressing issues with it. I see a letter that should be a small letter, but other than that, no.
I have a thought. You know, the way it says stated, we will be sure to consider meet the needs of historically marginalized, oppressed in our community. I don't know if we can word it differently because I don't want to make it sound like we are not considering and meeting the needs of anyone else. But if y'all think this is fine, that's good too.
I think it needs to be in there because certainly there are people in our community who have been marginalized and oppressed. And I give a big up for the board for putting that in there, for recognizing that fact. And there are people in our community who have not been oppressed. And I don't think we should have anything in there about them. But I think we should keep that at the top of our minds, that there are people that we need to give a little more due consideration when we're making our decisions.
Well, maybe we can, I was thinking putting like, we'll be sure to meet additional considerations for the needs of the people.
You think it's good to point out specific groups rather than just, you know, we want to serve everyone equally? I see your point, but
Yeah, I mean, I'm very sensitive to it. So that to me is an additional consideration, additional locations, additional hour. But that statement sounds like we're only considering that, and I don't want someone to get upset. But, you know, hardly anyone reads it, so I'm not that. Yeah. Just a thought, that not married to it.
I hear the idea, and if, as far as, if that were, if the first paragraph were all that we had for the mission statement, I definitely, that would make it stand out more that it's just saying that. But I think as it goes down the rest of it, maximizing voter participation, community participation, to me, at least, it covers that
It
everyone
does.
is being considered.
It does.
We go above and beyond to say that we will especially consider the needs of people.
I'm just gonna say, add the word additional consideration, but anyway, but you're right, for the top, but that is just a thought.
Okay. I think it's good as is. I know a lot of thought previously went into this. So I think it covers everything. I wish that ampersand was the word and support was a small s, and do was a small d, but other than that, I'm good with it. Anybody?
Yeah, you're grammatically correct.
Can we make those capitalization changes?
If a, did a motion enable this or enact this? If so, I would think it would need to be.
Yeah.
Give me.
So tell me again. The do, lowercase,
So the second paragraph. And symbol should be the word and.
okay.
And in the last sentence,
Mhm.
Let's just bring collapse into it.
sorry,
Sorry, sorry, please, I cut you off. Finish.
go ahead. No,
Is
fine.
it, I hear what you're saying, as it's written right now, provide, support, and do
Oh, I see
should be
what you're
lowercase.
saying.
But if it were a bulleted list,
Oh, it's a
that would have
list.
just been put into a
Okay.
paragraph form. for this.
I missed the P, so
Oh, I see what you're saying.
provide high
I
quality.
think that's the way it was, and I think we just combined it.
For the purpose of the slide,
Uh-huh.
then in that case,
Well, then, in that case, make uphold capitalized if it's a list.
all right,
Okay.
Just two. Excuse me.
if, in the spirit of making it accurate, we are technically the ACC Board of Elections and voter registration. Is it sufficient just to leave it as Board of Elections? Or
And registration.
Probably
That's
registration, so it'll be.
Illegal.
consistent.
And in fact, on that note then, we wanted, ACC should be Athens-Clarke County. The
First up in the
First.
third paragraph.
Uh-huh. Okay, we'll do that.
Now, oh, that's right, we are going to state the Board of Elections, the office name is to be changed.
No. The office will remain. That's what we've found so far. There's nothing that allows us to make those changes. So, yes.
it would take a law pretty much to change that name, please. Gotcha.
All righty, next thing, we're looking ahead. So these are the dates, important dates that are coming up. We're already accepting absentee ballot applications. Voter registration deadline is February 12th. Early voting begins on the 19th through March 12th. Yeah. March,
Yeah, March
Eight,
12th
sure
is
is.
election day.
March 8th, yes, March 8th. Good catch. May 21st is the general primary. Yeah.
My anniversary.
Yes.
I'll be in trouble.
Wow.
I have to work that day.
We'll be accepting absentee ballots for that election at the same time that we're accepting applications for, well, we'll be cutting off applications for the PPP and starting accepting them for the primary, like 3 days later.
Mhm.
Yeah, through May 10th. And then the last day to register to vote, April 22nd. Early voting, April 29th through May 17th, and then the runoff election, if there is a need for runoff, June 18th.
Because there would be no potential for, or no need for a primary.
Right. There is a date set for runoff, but it's for counties that are having, some are having
Municipal, yeah.
some elections. I was shocked to see there was a runoff date, but it is for that, not for the PDP.
But what if the scenario was that the two presidential candidate, well, no, because there's multiple people, so.
Multiple people, and then.
But what if, what if one county, their top candidate didn't get the 50.1?
When
Would you have to have a runoff for that?
No, because you consider the entire state when it comes to that. State, election votes. And then,
Under May 21st, there should be saying applying for ballot for general primary.
presidential preference primary.
Yeah.
They would copy and paste, yeah. Good catch.
These dates very well.
Yeah, and you know the other dates very well.
We proved this, and that was not even called, so, and even the May 12th, so.
You gotta read it backwards like that one dude said.
Well, I do read my absentee ballots backwards, but I didn't, when you have somebody prove something like this, you just hand it to them and say, hey, prove this, you don't sit there and read it to them, right? Okay, yeah, but anyway, yeah, good catch, Audra. November 5th elections, general election, then we'll apply for an absentee ballot through August 19th, October 25th. Registration deadline, October 7th. Early voting, October 14th through November 1st. And then if there's a runoff election, it'll be December the 3rd.
Exciting.
Christmas. New Year. All right.
Should we, while I'm thinking about it, can we either make a note for the end, pick our, certification meeting dates for March? And in fact, we could probably just do all three if you wanted.
Okay.
Can we go back to that?
Well,
Or do you want to do it at the end?
say, pick them from March and then May.
Uh-huh.
And let's just wait and see what happens in the legislature.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's something maybe.
Lord, mercy.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Good point.
Put a few bills before I left, so,
Should we even do
Yeah.
it for May?
okay.
Should we even do it for May?
Oh, yeah, because
It's
most.
the year.
Yeah, because
Ju-
most,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, most of the, bills, they go into effect
Yeah.
July 1, most of them, unless, you know.
And some go January 1,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Or, and some are immediate.
Immediate, yeah.
Um,
See.
so Madam Vice Chair, I'm gonna be gone the Friday of that week. So would
What
you
day
rather
is that?
wait to the Monday?
What date,
Well,
what date
yeah.
is that?
I would suggest doing it on the Mondays
Okay.
anyway, rather than Friday because of the provisional ballot reconciliation process.
I'll be back
That's that.
to wee hours of the morning on Monday. But unless there's some crisis that comes up. won't be able-
So I have some very fine writing on my paper, but here's a list of our polling locations and I've got.
Any,
asked-
what, oh, let's start.
I'm sorry.
Monday works for everyone?
What we're talking about, sorry, what day?
Yeah, we got distracted.
This is the March primary certification,
What is that, the
March the
18th?
12th. Is the March.
Yeah,
Got it.
12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18th is Monday.
Correct.
Yes.
5:30,
Yes.
March 12th?
18th. Oh, well, the
Well,
12th
March
too.
12th, PPP, it'll be the 18th, will be the date. What time would that be?
5:30? Does that work? You two good with that? Okay. Excuse me. March, what was that?
18th,
18th, yeah.
5:30 PM.
Dash. Ooh. No, that should work. I may have, gymnastics children. We can put them to work. So March 18. 5:30. What about election day? Do we want to do that?
You mean the May 21st general?
No, March 12th.
More like it.
It's usually 4.
4,
Oh,
4:30?
oh, I'm sorry. It's not March.
Will that be here?
Oh,
Yeah.
March 12,
Elections.
our regular meeting.
Oh, was it?
Second.
March 12th, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
So-
I think we went through this when
we
we,
had,
our
this-
calendar.
we had this before.
But what we did in the past was moved our regular meeting to the following Tuesday. So we had our special election day meeting on that previous Tuesday, certification on Monday, and then we held our regular meeting the next week because the staff doesn't need to sit around and approve minutes and stuff.
That may
Election
not
day.
work this time, because we'll definitely have an audit that we have to do.
Okay,
And then that starts pretty much
The same time.
immediately after certification.
okay. We could, I propose we could cancel the regular meeting for March, because we'll have 2 special meetings anyway. And if anything pressing comes up, we can add it to that agenda.
Can we add the regular meeting, anything needs to be addressed at these other meetings?
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
Okay.
Just throw it on the agenda if some, yeah. But that would mean like minutes and stuff would either have to wait till April.
Yeah, that can wait.
Yeah. Is that okay?
Unless it's something pressing, we'll let you
Do
know.
we need to advertise that we're canceling the regular March meeting somehow?
Oh, dang.
Well, bylaws allows to do that.
Well, you'll actually have a meeting that day. It just won't be a regular meeting, right?
It would be a
We could
special.
we could actually have a quick meeting prior to
Yeah.
that. You know, instead of going to a whole nother day. What you think?
Well,
If we-
Elisa and the staff have other things to do
Oh,
on election day. You know, that's what
that's
I,
true, that's true.
they don't
Yeah.
need to sit there and listen to us.
How about the first week in March?
Going. Well, that's early voting.
That's true.
Yeah, I feel like we're just better off canceling and throwing,
Special meeting that day.
you know, whatever emergency comes up. Nothing new.
Like, I think our meeting, we're going to meet on that day anyway. It just happens to be an election day. So as far as, like, I mean, our bylaws say that we shall have monthly meetings. That's fine. We're doing that. We're meeting on one step for that month. Can't we just, unless there's a hot fire burning, our agenda can be this tiny, for our regular agenda can have nothing really on it, and just, it's our regular meeting. There's no cancellation. We're meeting on the day, like y'all are saying, and just, all we're gonna do is that check-in meeting functionally, right, that we always do. How the precinct's doing good?
So then could we just call that Tuesday meeting our regular meeting and not have a special meeting?
5 months ago.
I know, I'm sorry. That's what, circling back to what
I mean, I keep
My colleagues
keep
did.
going through this.
I'm so sorry.
I might have said it a different way.
I'm sorry, Ms. Willett.
That's, oh,
No,
no,
no.
I love to be, I love for you to do that, or y'all, whatever, you know?
All right, polling location, Winterville, let's go.
Okay.
So what did y'all decide?
Still meeting March 12th.
March 12th.
We'll be-
4:30. Here. Not-
On the 12th.
On the 12th, it'll be here rather than out there. It would normally be
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
yes. Okay, so.
4:30.
Yeah.
Mr. Secretary, will you
Ma'am?
alert us to this?
I will.
Please?
March 12th, regular meeting, or March 12th meeting, and March 18th.
Can you publish a memo, please?
I will. Next time, right now.
Okay.
Did we want to, while we're here, did we want to go ahead and do the same thing for May? Look ahead to May.
That took a lot. Let's give them a
May
minute.
election is May the 21st, so that wouldn't be the same day as your board
Yeah, it wouldn't
meeting.
affect that meeting.
But you could name that as your board meeting day to say that rather than having it that second Tuesday, you will have it that particular day, because we will be in advance voting too during that time.
Mhm.
Yeah, and poll worker training probably could easily be still going on.
Could be.
Will be the
You
14th.
never know.
Yes, yes. So,
So-
and then, and y'all, and that's something y'all can talk about at your next meeting or
Is that
something.
a lie?
Jim,
Okay.
To asking me, is there a route on?
So the next slide is a list of our 2024 polling locations. And this is a list that we're publishing. I don't know why that address is, says Johnny Lay Burgess. I don't know why it says that, but it does. But anyway, on 5C.
We got some copy and paste trouble. here.
Yes, we do. So I will highlight the polling locations that have changed. So one is 1A, Winterville Cultural Center, which was formerly Winterville Train Depot. 4A, voters now go to Athens-Clarke Airport in the community room, and it was from ACC Transit Multimodal. Oglethorpe Avenue is gonna inherit some voters that will be coming from Fire Station number 4, which was previously 6D and no longer exists. Chase Street Elementary School is now Johnny Lay Burks Elementary School, and I will update that address. 5D is the Girl Scouts of Northeast Georgia, which was formerly ACC Fleet Management. And then 6B is the Athens Cooperative Extension Office, where we conduct early voting now. Those voters that coming from Georgia Square Mall will vote there. And then for South Village Baptist Church, we're replacing that location for those who were voting at Fire Station number 3, 5 points.
I don't know if it matters, but it's Girl Scouts of Historic Georgia.
Girl Scouts of Historic Georgia.
Let me know if you guys want to buy some cookies.
Okay. Historic Georgia.
My question is, because we moved the lines, is it really a 1-for-1 swap for every single one of these people?
No.
No,
Right. So is this gonna be published this way, or is it just for this meeting?
it's just for this meeting, but it will be published this way because when somebody gets a card or they go to a polling location that says 1A, it's gonna be Winterville Cultural. So it's published this way. We're just,
I'm just worried about where it says the formerly part.
Oh.
Well, that's-
Because I feel like that could be confusing based on the question I just asked.
well, the reason it says formally is because it was not a polling location at all from the beginning. So Winterville Cultural Center was never a polling location. That's why I put formally. And then neither was, and neither was Athens, Apps, neither was Extension, and neither were.
But like, yeah,
South Village. So that's really a reference for us.
Okay.
Can you make it Cultural Center / Train Depot?
Oh, that's already confusing.
I would just put a note down at the bottom, like you have your asterisk there.
You can put.
I think this was just for us. This isn't
Okay.
to post to the public.
Yeah, no, this won't be published,
I just
published to the public. This is just. for-
Foresee phone calls if that was.
Oh, no,
It's not going out.
Let's see. From the changes that we made, we identified 18,013 voters were affected by the changes that you all did. And we'll be printing 80-something thousand, I got the number, cards. And we estimate that we will receive those cards on January 30th. They're in print mode. And we'll begin processing them by the mail. 2 weeks prior to the PPP, we're gonna post notices at 3 locations in the vicinity of the revised polling locations. This is all prescribed by law. This will be at places like stores and gas stations. We'll have those posted. The weekend prior to the PPP, we will post notices at all of the new and former locations to inform the voters at those locations that those locations have changed. And then Sunday prior to the election day, we will publish maps in the legal Oregon. And those changes will be in Athens and Herald. It goes on our website, of course, before that Sunday prior and other media circuits. And then our voters will start voting.
What date did you say that you would receive these cards from printing?
We We estimate that we will receive it by January 30th,
30, okay.
and I
It
have.
sounded like January 3rd and I just didn't hear 30th.
Okay. Yeah. I might have
There's a problem there.
Uh-huh.
As I said, they're printing. And I have asked the Secretary of State's office to let us know as soon as they're ready. If I have to go by and pick them up myself, I'll go pick them up. But I want them in the mail the first week of February, no later than the first week of February. So if y'all could let, people that you know, some of your friends and Sunday school students know that.
You think I teach Sunday school?
Yeah.
Come on.
Your choir members, you know, well. Okay, and this is the advanced voting schedule that you guys approved on, get them right. Yes,
On 1/9/2024.
yes. And then it was revised on 110 because the schedule that we had previously had, I think, 10 a.m., so we had to change them. So that was revised as well. Winterville Train Depot was listed down there. We changed it to the Cultural Center. So we do have that. And I understand I listened to the meeting. I was a little bit, disappointed that y'all wasn't as asking as you have been in the past. Yeah,
What do you
yes,
mean?
because I put a Sunday voting on there.
That's all
And I
was
put-
thinking.
And y'all was like, oh, y'all gonna work on Sunday, okay.
You made it easy.
I was trying to read you guys' mind. Y'all fooled me. Okay, so now this is a time of discussion for you to talk about goals that you would like to set for 2024. Other than the Spanish translation, which I'll have the timeline and stuff. Yeah, I'll have that in there for you. A few slides down, but any goals that you would like to include in your 2024,
Requires some weight.
other than losing weight.
Anybody have a goal? I wasn't
I'm thinking.
really prepared. I should have been.
It's okay, we got
Goals.
We got
plenty. We'll give you some of them.
All right.
Maybe that's where we should start.
Yeah, can you share yours and we can see where we can fill in and I'd imagine most of them are shared.
Yes. Okay, so, here's the Spanish translation. So, so we had a meeting, recently, Chairman Raffle and Secretary Charlie, and, I want to say minister, but he's not.
Minister.
Go ahead.
Definitely not
I'm with church clothes on, I'm sorry, I went to church on you.
Go ahead and say minister, I'm okay with that.
Mr. Manager Jones and I, and we had talked about the Spanish translation rollout and just kind of refreshed the goals that we like to attain. And here's what we're looking at. We're looking at having vote here signs in March in Spanish. And then if we accomplish other things before March, I mean, that we got in May and June, kudos for us. But this is what we plan to do in May and June, is to have documents and correspondences that we mail out, the sample ballots, the voter IDs. Some of these things are gonna have to be addressed with the state, but we do have a plan. And then November, December elections, we hope to have full translation, where we have our paper ballots. So our absentee ballots will be in Spanish, available in Spanish. The voters will have an option on the BMDs to select a Spanish ballot. And then our precinct cards, our billboards, we're working on that as well already. And, but we'll have them ready for November, December.
Have we
I think it's
already voted and agreed on the paper ballots and the BMPs?
I was gonna point that out.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
like, we what we had consensus about was that we were gonna request funding in the budget to allow us to even consider this
Consider that.
come June. But that would be a conversation for June, is what we had talked about.
Because I'm very interested to see how many, what happens during the registration.
Same.
I figured out. I'm thinking about the absentee ballot applications being in Spanish, not reading. Anyway. And had Spanish since college. I figured on. Yeah.
Sí se puede.
Sí, señor.
Aquí.
Road here.
Okay. Next thing is, so here are the part of the strategic goals for our department. And I wanted to kind of just give you an update on what we're working on. These show a goal of engaging the community, increase voter turnout and build trust. And just to talk about some of the initiatives that we have. On the first initiative, where we develop and implement a voter interaction and education event scheduled to achieve a minimum of one per quarter public event. And so we're collaborating with Ollie and some churches in our community, as well as UGA. Getting out with them and just educating them and getting them vote ready for the 2024 elections. We're just trying to do that, maintaining that. And we do have some things on schedule, and we'll update those as you have your board meetings, so that we don't get them lost in the weeds. We hope to implement a periodic newsletter, a physical and a digital letter, and we hope to do that before the November election. That's kind of our goal. We want to improve our social media presence and engagement. And we do have in our budget to have another part-time position added that will be solely focused on our social media. And what I hope to invent is a social media calendar, so that we can follow this calendar every year. That these are the days that we're going to start talking about things that's related to advanced voting. And this is the month that we talk about National Voter Registration Day. And so that's what I'm hoping to develop. I may get that developed before we hire somebody. And so I'm hoping to get it rolling, but I'm mainly focusing on nuts and bolts right now. But anyway, that's my goal. Let's see, collective public input regarding election services via surveys and forms. I mentioned in the meeting that we had the other day that I would like to maybe survey some of the voters who select Spanish ballots in November, to just kind of get their feedback. And of course, you as the board and us, we will assess how this project turned out after the November election, to just see where we need to go. Do we need to go a little further? Do we need to implement another language? Do we need to just not do Spanish at all, focus on another language? But anyway, I hope to conduct some surveys, and that will be one of the surveys we want to conduct. I'm gonna go on to collaborate with PIO to create videos that describe the risk limiting audit and other processes. I've also been approached by our diversity inclusion director to do some videos where it talks about any of the processes that we do, like how to register to vote. What do you do when you vote? What do you do when you go in a polling location? So we're hoping to collaborate with them. Improve voter access through polling location improvements. So we yet to find a place for our voters at the fire station at Barnett Show. So that's something that I hope that you will keep on your, as we move forward. Improve the Spanish-speaking voter access through translation. Of course, that provided that working timeline with you earlier. Proactively collaborate with the disabled community to improve awareness of voting rights and access. Again, we're collaborating with our diversion inclusion department. And I'll skip down to number 10, providing a campaign finance workshop to all candidates and incumbent elected officials. So in April, we're collaborating with the State Ethics Commission to conduct a workshop And we're gonna invite some of the regions, the other counties in our region, if they wanna have some of their elected officials and candidates to come over and get that training. But that's how they file their forms, that's required by law. Goal number 2,
I have a question. Can we, you want to finish this or can we go on the previous slide?
I think she should go through them and then we could.
Okay, go.
fill 'em in.
Okay.
yeah, okay. Goal number 2, ensure the accuracy and integrity of all elections. Number 1 is to identify and implement best practices from government entities such as CISA and EISAC, which are the cybersecurity and election security agencies that are part of the federal government. The Secretary of State's office, the State Election Board, that's an ongoing thing. We do that. That's ongoing. Mitigate external and internal threats to increase scrutiny during the hiring process and cooperation and collaboration with our local law enforcement. So we recently met with ACCPD and the fire department and the Clarke County school districts to talk about planning a plan, basically, being prepared for any kind of threats or mishaps that may come up during elections, election day. Partner with other ACC departments to implement on election day an emergency management center. That is something that you guys are wanting to do, and we hope to have that ready for November. Reduce voter registration data entry errors through our audits and analysis of audit results. And I'm happy to report that our error rate right now is 0.15%. We found 23 errors of 15,239 records. So that's good. So I want to kind of shout out to our staff, how well that they're doing. And we're actually catching those errors through our audit process. So. Develop a process for early notification of street and street segment creation to maintain accurate address information. So we're continuously communicating with our GIS department. I spent the afternoon with Pam yesterday, identifying some streets that we had in the wrong precincts. So, so we're forever looking at that. We continuously get updates from the tax assessor's office when there are new added streets or addresses. So we try to keep that up to date. Now I'll go to the next goal. Goal number 3, there's only 4 goals. Continue to drive improvements to operational efficiency. Some initiatives to maintain relationships with Region 5 Northeast to leverage best practices. That's an ongoing thing that we do. We haven't had any meetings yet, which I'm surprised because we try to get one in before the May election. The March election, but I'm sure that's going to be a conversation soon with our region. But we're forever communicating through text messages. Track and influence legislation through participation and engagement. I'll begin doing that next week, but I do have a couple of bills that if y'all want to write down to kind of follow. Senate Bill 355. Senate Bill 355. It is right here. And these are ones that I just kind of glanced at. There's a lot of others. Senate
I'll put it down.
355. It is regarding elections and primaries so as to prohibit the use of ranked choice voting. So provide for certain exceptions. So I don't know, I'll have to read that a little more.
Does it talk about Uocala or is it just
Yes,
the law that
it talks about Uocala.
prohibits something that doesn't actually?
Yes, it's Uocala.
Yeah.
Uocala.
Yeah.
Saying prohibiting Uocala. Okay, and then Senate Bill 358,
So
And that is to remove the Secretary of State from the Board of State Board of Elections, to authorize the board to investigate the Secretary of State, to require the Secretary of State to cooperate with certain investigations. Yep. Senate Bill 221 is related to primaries and elections. It revises the language that must be used on absentee ballot applications distributed by persons.
Sorry, which number was that again?
Senate Bill 221. Revised the provisions related to advanced voting on certain Saturdays preceding or following legal holidays. Interesting. Interesting.
I mean, have these paid committees or anything?
They are currently,
Like 221 doesn't even have a committee assigned.
but it's a holdover from last year.
Mhm.
It cleared committee last year.
And then the last one is House Bill 426. Now, there's others, but these are ones that just popped out to me that, um, I usually have someone in the office who always gets the.
Get away.
HB 26?
426.
Thank you.
What is that about?
This one is about, it revises the provision related to the retention of preservation of ballots and other election documents. To remove provisions for keeping such ballots and documents under seal. To provide for rulemaking regarding public inspection of ballots. So rather than sealed, they're just filed with the clerk of court. Yes. And it says that ballots, numbered list of voters, and oath of officers retained under the provision shall be subject to public inspection after initial certification of the election by the local election superintendent. Yep. It's one of them.
What was the number?
That one is House Bill 426. Okay. So the next item on the goals is to partner with other ACC departments to create a centralized library for open records requests. That's in the works. I believe the county is still looking at some type of application that can be used throughout the county. Identify and improve maintenance equipment management system. That's been delayed because there's another process that's being implemented in the county, where if we're looking at specific applications as far as something of this such, we'll go through a process of it being evaluated by our IT department and different things like that.
You're talking software programs? Or is that what you were telling me about that one time?
What I wanted, but it seems to be a really hard process to get through. So we haven't gotten very far.
Yes.
Well, we'll come back to that.
There's one more thing, automated process where possible, such as absentee ballot operations to reduce opportunities for error and continue to drive compliance. And we've been working on that as well. We're keeping our SAP updated to make sure that we are covering all bases. Increase efficiency through implementation of poll worker and equipment management software. Again, that's delayed. Execute the deployment of BMD software update. Again, delayed. That consists of our EMS server, our ICC workstation, our ICC, our BMDs, poll pads, UPS batteries, UPS cards, BMD printers, mobile ballot printer, ICPs, laptops, desktops, office printers, postage machine, and inclusion solution booths. That's our,
What was that under?
this was, deployment.
Oh.
Yeah,
Software update.
just keeping up with where all of our equipment is.
I think the deployment of the BMD software update was the one that the Secretary of State's office postponed until 2025. That's just the BMDs, updating the version.
Okay. than what I just named out?
I think that's all goes under 8.
Yes, yes,
Ah.
yes, I put places in the wrong place.
Yeah.
But speaking of that, proactively budget for replacement of equipment and software nearing the end of life. And so there's money that's requested through our capital budget to allow us that if we need to replace anything, that we're able to do that. But yes, you're right. What I just listed goes under 8. Clearly define physical location of the perfect operation with diagrams where appropriate. And I'll combine it with number 10, partner with central services to identify and evaluate feasibility of current and future physical sites. So currently, right now, the Costa building is being renovated. And we will be inheriting some space in the basement right now. That's the idea. And that's gonna be for storage. But part of that,
Basement, which building?
of the Costa,
Oh.
next. But one part of it is their facilities management has allowed me to partner with this construction company.
An architect.
Architect them, and, and they've come in to look at our office and take measurements and offer some ideas that we can improve our infrastructure as far as making it more customer service, a more of a customer service approach, but also allowing space for us to have workstations. So that's in the works. And so there's gonna be some renovations in our building, and it's gonna be all worked out during times when we're not the busiest. So you'll hear more about that as it,
In an alternative world, because you're always busy.
yeah, yes. It can happen. And if you haven't already, if you would, have a look at the renovations that's taken place over here at Lexington Road, where our staff has moved out of the warehouse and now have their own workstations. And then there's a little break area too that we're proud of being able to have. And that was all part of a plan that came with the renovation of this entire building, the facilities management building. So we're very gracious for that. Yes, grateful. All right, the last final goal is to recruit, reward, retain high-performing election professionals. Just wanted to highlight a couple of things here. Number 3, identify the perfect organization for election management, skill sets, reclassification, organizational structure. That's something that we'll be working on after the November election, because we probably need to update some of our classifications and organizational structure. Improve customer service training online and in person. That is something that started some time ago, but we will still include customer service interaction and training during coworker training. Collaborate with the external organizations and ACC diversity and inclusion to improve ADA accessibility and sensitivity training. That's also something that we did in November this past year, and that'll be ongoing. Continue to improve the content from other organizations for online training. That's ongoing. Develop a strategy for coworker shift offerings in lieu of the required 12 to 14-hour days. And that's something that we hope to, we hope to kind of pilot it a little bit in May and be ready to actually do it in November.
Ask them to do that.
I'm really looking forward to that.
I have to tell you, though, doing all the staffing this time, I haven't had anybody complain, and we have the most consistent advanced voting staff that we've had in a long time.
With the full day.
Full day and working
Right.
every single day. They were
That's
open.
good.
Right.
That's our standard.
I think we have.
And then, of course, your announcements of the dates that are upcoming, February 6th is your semi-annual retreat at the Athens Regional Library.
Big time.
I'll be meeting with Organizational Development, Director here soon, and I was wanting to take her some ideas of something that you would like to have for your retreat. I came up with a idea of reconciling priorities. Like how better can we work together as a team, staff with board, board with staff. I don't know if that's gonna be like some team building exercises or how that will pan out, but of course, I would like to take your suggestions and be able to have this conversation with Patrice so that she can get some material for the retreat. And then, of course, your regular meeting on February 13th. And that's all I have.
Wonderful job.
That's all.
Well, I have questions on all the goals.
Yeah, let's go back to goal one.
Yeah, that's what I'd like to start. Go ahead.
One.
Yeah.
Okay, to start? Oh, can
Open up.
you?
One.
Okay, just one point here. We have all these ideas of how to create more awareness and so forth. There is one that I really like, and that is number 8. Because you're collaborating with the disabled community to improve awareness of their voting rights. That's what I call targeted marketing. The others, are you just marketing whatever option is available to you? Or have we identified who is not registering, who is not voting? You know, in this internet area, even the elections are being now targeted by the screen. And I'd like to see down the road, we can, rather than just having social media for everyone, if it's people who are already voting, then your dollars and efforts are not being spent correctly. So is there anyone who can help us on targeting each one of those to those who are not registering to vote?
Yeah, so that's a good question. I haven't discussed this with my staff yet, but I have a list of ideas that I came up with during the conferences that I attended. And one of the things, and I don't want us to get too bogged down in doing other things and not getting what we're supposed to be doing done. So my focus is trying to stay focused because I have all these high goals and these high ideas. So I'm having a little hard time staying focused on what it is. And one of the goals that I would like to accomplish this year, at some point, is to identify what voters are not voting
Exactly.
and send them those, hey, did you know that this is
Yes.
particular elections going on? Yeah, so we have these little cards in our office that has all of the list of the elections and the dates,
Yeah.
when advanced voting is, when absentee voting starts. And I want to send those out to those voters who have not voted in 4 years.
I like that. Now,
Um,
but are these voters, have they registered?
They're registered.
So I'm actually less concerned about them because I feel as a general rule, if you're registered, you are, at least if you're interested in voting, you will go vote. What about those who are not registered or we don't have that many?
Now that I don't know. Now, what we could do is work with GIS to say that we have a registered voter on our voter roll at this address. What addresses do we have that don't have registered voters?
I'd love to see
And
that.
send to the
Yes.
house of or to the home of this particular address.
Between the two initiatives, I like that because I just feel some of this, if you're just putting it, ad on the ACCT, the people who watch it are the people who are already involved and active. So if we can have a little more targeted effort over that, it's not something that can be done in 1 year. over the next couple of years, I think that would be tremendous. That's the only thing I have on goal one. Oh, sorry.
Um, I haven't seen what you have in your office, this little card. I don't know if you have thousands of them already printed, but I would like to ask these people why you're not registered, why you're not voting.
That's what I want
Yeah.
to know. That was my question. That was what I was gonna ask.
Nice survey.
No, 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 no. But the thing about it is, I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
The thing about it is, if you don't know why people are not voting, you can't do anything about it.
Yeah,
And maybe you can't even if, after you find out, but of all the people who are not voting, maybe you can pull in 30 or 40% of those people. It would be worth it if you could.
and I think the PIO office, and I've had a couple of conversations with, Jeff about it, and I think something. Once again, this is not something we're going to resolve in 1 year, but should be a good long-term project over the next couple of years. That'd be great.
That could be one of our, initiatives. Well, it's part of our initiative already, but it could be a.
Yeah. To identify why they are not registering or voting.
Yes. That's something that we could probably get out. A PIO, like a survey, like you said, just
Yeah.
says, are you a voter?
Yeah.
If not, why? Did you vote in this election? Are you registered to vote? If you are, did you vote in this election?
Yeah.
If not, why?
It can be combined where you won't have a lot of expense in printing stuff.
Mhm. I've asked Jeff, over the next 5 years, so we can come up with some things where a referendum can be done with a click of a button. But then again, a lot of the people who don't register and vote don't have that kind of access to the internet or at least to these kind of surveys, or they're not interested. So we are in a sort of a catch-22 situation. But yeah, it would be a great group to look into it as a long-term goal.
And if we wanted to, I remember that the voter registration and voter turnout display that GIO made for us would be a good way to target it
Yeah,
more by address if we wanted to go that route.
yeah.
We have couple of census tracts where only 40% of the people registered to vote.
Mhm.
So it's not, it's a different question than what you're saying, like, why are you not registered? Those who are registered, why don't you vote? Would be another kind of thing we could target. Versus like in the southeast part of the county, 72% of them voted in 2022. They don't need as much outreach as the
Yeah,
40%
exactly.
turnout section.
It's less dense in that part.
True, but you're right. But the percentage of voters who voted, but you're right, I see what you mean. The numbers are different there. Anyway, sorry, that's a tool that I keep forgetting that we have a lot of work went into. And we can use it for something.
You might also want to ask, is there something that we can do to aid you or assist you to vote, to register?
House call.
And speaking of number 8, I recall, I was having to kick over and I saw Audra, and it reminded me that she and Paula they went to the mall that y'all went to, and they conducted a training for the visually impaired community. And that was an eye opener. Really, an eye opener for us.
We did that one
Just to collaborate with the community.
in the office that time. Was this recently?
This last year was, 122.
Remember a couple of years ago, you brought a machine downtown and
Yeah.
Jamaica and some other folks came in.
Yeah, this was I would have to look in my email for it. I sent that to somebody. It's Julie London.
And I've noticed Jamaica lately's been doing a lot of absentee ballots.
Every time she sees me. Was that all you had? I think?
That's all right. On goal one.
So my comments on the goals are, I think they're great. I don't know what we could add, except for maybe suggesting advocating on your behalf for some of those goals that you want to achieve, such as funding for the software that you want, or, your part-time social media person, public relations, that's something I've always been in support of, so. As a board, I propose we come up with a list to advocate on behalf of the staff for things that they're requesting. As a partnership. Somewhere in there, you used the two words continuous improvement. I love, are you taking lean classes? No? Oh, huh, okay.
No,
Do you know what that is?
no.
Well, it's a whole like way of doing things. Toyota invented it on their production line. And it's a whole science, it's a whole thing, you know what I'm talking about, don't you? Yeah, yeah. And the whole foundation of it is continuously improving what you're doing. Like how Renee redesigned the check-in process, and every time we make it a little bit different, so I like that and I support that.
Yes.
And if you could get some lean training, even though you do like so many other trainings, I think it would be helpful. There's some of it's a little corporate speak, if you will, but there's some foundation principles that are pretty helpful.
Gotcha.
And
Interesting.
Yeah, and then, I have one more, and then.
I'm sorry.
As your FY 26 or forward, you know, your wish for more space.
Mhm.
Starting to work with the SPOST office, perhaps starting to outline and draft what you need. So the next time there's a SPOST committee,
Yes.
you can come to that committee and say, I need a building. Because I mean, I feel like that's the only way you're gonna get what you really want
Okay.
and need.
The SPOST, I can jump in real quick on that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Real quick, I'm on the
Is it
SPOST
okay?
committee.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Just to piggyback off that, I do know the SPOST, we're currently about 1 year ahead where we thought we'd be on the collections. So the SPOST that was for 2020 will probably end at least 1 year earlier. So by 2028, we'll probably get fired up with the proposal, which is not that far
Not far.
away. So even more reason to be getting on,
Coming fast.
right?
And I don't know your internal process of working with that office but just as a citizen who's participated in Peace Plus, similar. The projects that came forward, some were brought by staff of the county, so,
Right.
yeah,
I remember when all that was going on.
yeah. I mean, they're getting a new library,
Yes.
you need a new building,
Mhm.
so, that's all I had. Well,
As I sit here, I think about, bringing in the leaders of community groups and pastors to help us with the lifting on encouraging, group leaders, encouraging their groups, their specific group they're involved with, and their congregation to vote. We're not asking the preachers to say who to vote for, just to vote and kind of do like a wellness in the church. You know, and encourage people, if you're not registered, you know, that's a part of your duty really as a Christian person, you know, that, you know, is to make sure that you be a part of participating in your community. And, I think that we would probably bring in a lot of people if we use that pattern. Because we're not gonna be able to get to as many people, so we're gonna have to think about people who are the head of large groups of people.
And we have reached out to 20 churches.
Mail letters to like 15 churches and 7 or 8, about 8, senior living facilities the first week of this year, of this month. And I have been contacted by them. I will be going to Chestnut Grove next, on Wednesday, the 31st, from 1 to 2, and again, I'll go back to them on February the 7th, from 1 to 2.
So my neighbor.
For absentee ballot voter education.
Mhm.
What?
My neighbors,
Oh, yeah, Chestnut.
yeah, yeah.
And some of these people get so many emails and so many letters. So could we just follow that up with a personal contact on the phone?
I had not planned on calling because most days I'm by myself upstairs in the mornings all day. So I decided I was gonna do calls, and then I decided, no, let me make it more formal and send this out like an invite with all the details of the dates and the hours that I could come and I just haven't heard anything back.
Are you sending out letters or email?
I sent out letters, I mailed them out.
First class postage? Should be looking at it, but there again, some churches get so much mail, you know, it's like, okay. 13, but, you know, y'all know what's best.
I would use the words places of worship rather than church, but
Yeah, okay, that sounds
Yeah.
good.
more inclusive.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anybody else? So what do people think of my idea of advocating as one of our goals?
I'm happy to do that, absolutely.
I don't know what that would look like. Maybe we should think about that and talk about that at the retreat, but
I know that, like, just to jump in as far as my contributions, I know last year, I kind of walked into last year thinking odd numbered year, this is the time to do stuff. Like, if we're gonna do something outside of the lines of just the mission of getting elections done, as far as I'm concerned personally, you know, there might be things that need attention along the way, but I'm not coming into this year with any extra thing. Let's just get through the year, right? Help each other, help everybody get through the thing, make successful the things that we made happen last year, right? But as far as me personally, I'm ready to support, advocate, whatever we can do, but I feel like I helped put enough on y'all's plate last year that y'all are gonna be working with, so I just wanna help advocate and support y'all any way that I can. Next year though, 2025, I have ideas, but not for right now. I know, right? No, that's.
Thanks for the warning.
Right.
But no, journey. This
now
year,
this is gonna spend the whole year worrying about what is it gonna be, what is it?
Yeah, taking notes. Said, what word did you?
But I like it because we get to earn our keep.
no, but sure enough, actually, yeah, I'm all for advocating, using what power that we do have to boost the signal for things.
So I don't know if we're tracking our goals, but I would say that's a goal. Is to advocate on behalf of the staff, whether it's on behalf of the staff to the mayor and commission or to our elected officials at the state level, whether, you
Well,
know,
it's by letter or resolution or whatever we have to do to get that done.
like, for example, one of those bills, it's about the QR code and our scanners not being compatible, like, that's kind of like, you're not thinking through the whole thing when you put these bills out, so. Clarke County, Athens-Clarke County Board of Elections, by virtue of resolution, says that's a terrible idea, and you know.
But that's all we can do is pass a resolution because we cannot solve a statewide problem just within a county like the QR code. We cannot go on our own and say, okay, we won't use the QR. We are going to read out each ballot individually and.
But certainly, yeah.
But you could, our body can use, our body's voice is louder than any one of our 5 voices. So if there's something we agree on that we feel we should support the staff, or we can go to mayor and commission, or
Yeah, at the local
The
state, I
state.
get it.
Yeah, well, you know, we have representatives, that would be my thinking on it, that we were, if it was, it's not, for the state senate or the house,
Right,
but it's toward our local representation that goes up to Atlanta to represent us. And for me, it would be like an educational thing, because it's not a lot of people know exactly what goes on and what we do and how it impacts people.
yeah. I'm all for support doing things at the local level. I don't think it's a good use of our time to be doing things at the state level. Because we already got lobbyists, we got, Gabrielle, other people doing that. So they're doing it more effectively than
Well-
we can.
I asked if I could join the Gabrielle committee and
Great.
homeboy that was in charge of it said, oh, we got too many people. We don't know.
You're kidding.
So, I don't know how welcoming or how much I can trust a committee that says, oh, we got too many people. I don't think we could do that. So.
His name ain't in the book.
Yeah, so.
I like that idea though. Yes, advocating where we can.
I do too.
Supporting this project and helping start that conversation, however that needs to be done, I don't know.
Supporting the budget.
Supporting the budget in general.
Mm-hmm.
Is someone capturing it? You want to write these down? Like, do we need to write them down?
The owl's got it.
There we go.
Mm-hmm.
So can we do goal 2, goal 3, number 3?
We're gonna do that at the retreat.
I don't have anything on this one. Maybe y'all do.
My comments were I took notes through all 4, so. Anybody have
I do not.
Yeah,
These are wonderful goals. I support all of them.
they're very well thought out.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question on that, and I'd like to ask our manager. Basically, for some of this, it's going to cost a little bit. First of all, I mean, you've got these goals. Do you have any pressure on budgets? I mean, do you have as much money as you need?
Nobody ever has that.
I said need, not what you'd like.
You're talking about like software, the software
Everything put together.
pieces?
Well,
Does software fall under special new initiatives or?
because that's what Rocky was talking
Well,
about.
it
I mean, what
depends.
can we do to go to the mayor and commission? Do you feel you'll be able to?
Well, it depends. So when I was figuring the budget this particular year, we do have a software budget, a item that's for software. And so, this is just an example. We use EasyVote for an entire suite of easy absentee, easy campaign, easy poll worker, and there's one other, but there's a whole suite, and we paid $13,500 for. If by chance we're able to get the poll worker and equipment management software, I think that's the one that we're looking at. Yes. It's cheaper than us getting it as a whole suite with EasyVote.
Yep.
So the money would be there if we wanted to go with this other software.
I was thinking a little more specifically on number 9 and number 10. I know those are long-term plans.
Now,
It's the,
now we have been very lucky here with central services. So, and I say that because the renovations that were done here, that didn't come out of our budget. And the renovations that's gonna be done with the Costa and making our office a little more customer service atmosphere, that's not coming out of our budget either.
okay.
It's not gonna get us the perfect operation, I would like to see it, but it's still gonna give us some expansion of growth where we can have space that we need. Cause my idea of a perfect operation is having us all in one
That's right.
building.
That'd be great.
Now, that's gonna cost some money.
Then it comes in the hook.
And it's gonna have to either come in from the avenue of a SPOS or, a capital request that I would do. I'm gonna have to do a lot of, research. Because-
So if I could, right now, we are, as you all know, paying attention to the judicial center. It's costing significantly more than we thought. So let's just play this out, that it's gonna be 6-7 years from now before the judicial center
It's that-
at best. You know, I say 6-7 years before we break ground. Maybe I'm just being conservative on that, but let's just say, 6-7 years before it's constructed. And between now and then, we're just gonna have to make room. So cost of the building coming online, but economic development doesn't have a home, doesn't be there. Inclusion is gonna go in there, but somebody's already gonna backfill their position, so we have space needs everywhere. HCD is leaving Satula, it's gonna open up some space in Satula, but, Charlotte's probably better situated where he is, but
Yeah.
Satula still being separate from everyone.
And farther away.
Yeah, we have space needs all across the county. And the judicial center was supposed to take care of this space. I'm not sure it's gonna come online. anytime soon. And then, by that time, we may be doing another SPOS. So there may be an opportunity to advocate there. But then what does that mean? Does that mean we construct a brand new building? Well, then I want to tell you, that's gonna be,
2035.
three, you get a SPOS, you know what I mean?
I mean, you gotta start somewhere.
That's right. So, there are opportunities out there, but probably not for the next 6 or 7.
We talk about it a lot. I'm just- Some way to move the ball there.
Get going with it.
Yeah, I know. I foresee some space configuration in downtown location where your office is in your future, but I don't know what that means for everything else. I think the attorney's gonna take the upstairs, right?
So then we're losing space.
They're gonna take what? You know they're gonna put y'all in the basement, because when your car alarm goes off, I have to go in.
Oh, yeah, we're fighting for you, we didn't want to get it. But everybody's just kind of,
I understand. I have a similar question, but that's also for goal number 4 when we get there.
Okay.
But y'all might have. All right, pretty much same on this, like number 6. Do we have support from HR and the county is that like considered a priority in the county budget for you to retain high-performing people and recruit and reward?
which we have.
Where are you at?
Oh, just the goal in general?
Yeah. I mean, it's nice to put them down, but all those things, as I understand, require some extra funding or increased funding. I mean, how are you going to recruit, reward, and retain?
Well, that's the government as a whole.
Okay,
The government as a whole is going through a paying beneficial, we're going through a paying class study right now.
yeah,
Or we're about to go through a paying class study. And, commissioners have been very adamant about making sure that it's tied to the market, of course, but once there is the study that is tied to an index, that it continues to go up. So, generally speaking, when you're talking about a paying class study, you can be below market, at market, or above market. We're gonna try to be at market.
Yeah.
The problem with past pay studies that, who we compare ourselves to. We compare ourselves to the Gwinnett support, and that's who we lose people to. So this pay study, we're comparing ourselves to Gwinnett, Atlanta, Fulton County, those things. So, I don't want to make any promises of what this pay study is gonna do, but the comparisons are gonna be more in line with a different market.
and even how you compare it is a complex issue.
It is.
Because different counties have different issues, but Mark, one thing is, I mean, we have not had that much attrition in the 3 years I've been here. And so I think y'all are doing something right.
So hopefully that helps with,
And that's,
the recruit.
yeah, that to me is a
Everything.
sign that we are doing, at least staying as best as we can. I don't know how long we'll be able to do.
Yeah, yeah.
We're talking about the retreat,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next one,
unless there's any other
any other?
comments. I will start with, you all know that I have strong feelings about this retreat. I think the most productive use of our time, Patrice facilitating the conversation rather than playing silly games. At least that's my opinion. opportunities where we can all get to know each other better. And just conversation and get to know how people think and work and joke and in my professional life, that's been helpful. You know, I've had a conflict with someone, but we just sit down and be like, well, you think I'm a goofball, but I just like to joke. And I think you're terrible to me. And she's like, well, I'm just very serious. So just getting to know each other and how we all work together.
They're gonna have to feed us to do that, because food makes people more palatable,
Yeah.
more engaged in conversation. What would y'all
So while you're saying that, if, I'm gonna be talking with Patrice.
Mhm.
There's the evaluation, emergency survey kind of that we did.
Mhm.
And it helped us understand more about each other and how we think, how we process things.
Yeah, there's like the color, there's
Purchase
so many
names.
different.
So if we're able to do that, I'm not sure what the turnaround period is, or if we get the survey on this day, how soon can we get the results? I'll talk to her about that tomorrow. I'll talk to her and find out. So if we're able to do it, then I will let you know ahead of time. Expect this particular link so that you can do the survey
Okay.
ahead of time. And then all we gotta do then is just meet and talk about the differences.
Mhm.
Well, I'd like to add to what Rocky said. I mean, I sort of, well, you agree with that. You know, the team building, the way I look at it is, you don't have to agree with everyone on everything. That doesn't necessarily mean you're not a team. It just means you're disagreeing. Now, I do believe the previous board did need that a little more than I think our board has needed. I think we worked, as I see it, we worked extremely well. We haven't had any major issues that, you know, we could not talk about. So I don't want her to be, in my opinion, I wouldn't want her to be wasting time on team building stuff, pulling at ropes and saying, oh, I'm gonna fall down on your comrades, they will pick you up. I mean, those things are very necessary if people don't know each other. I don't think that's necessary. So, but that's my opinion, and the only other thing I want to add is you talked about priorities. What are the current? I mean, what is she going to talk about in terms of priorities? Is she going to help us come up with priorities? Maybe I misunderstood something.
Yeah. Actually wrote this in my email drafts the other day and I never sent it. I think that she could provide value to this, but a lot of us have all worked in our own professional lives and been through these things already, as have you, as has everyone in this room.
And
So
to work with each other.
Right, so I don't think we need that like
Yeah.
stuff that he's talking about, but she can play a role in being a neutral party to whatever we're talking about. I don't know. What are you laughing at?
I'm not laughing,
You laughing at me?
no. And I respect that, see what he does.
Okay.
The
Yes,
safest thing to do is do like I do, wear a mask. Nobody else knows what you're thinking.
That was,
Did you have something you wanted to add to this too?
Really hoping you would be more concrete in what you just said, because it was like flying through a cloud. I'm not really sure that I saw much there, that I understood what point you were making.
Just now? I talked too
I
much,
think
so.
so, yeah.
Yeah, I just don't need Patrice to come and talk at us, is essentially the point I'm making.
How can she talk with us or to us, or what would you say to her if she were here that you would find helpful?
I don't know. Yeah, I mean. Going back to the last one, like the video, the PowerPoint and the little game. It's not entirely helpful for me as it relates to this work. I want to get better at doing this job. So we need to do things that make us better at doing this job.
if she understands what we do, that she could pinpoint something better.
I don't know, does she? Yeah.
I'm not sure either. I think,
This is, yeah, I don't-
Maybe that's a general thing that she uses for everybody.
right.
I think the issue as I saw it with her retreat, she was trying to change personality in a very subtle way. And you're not gonna change Rocky's personality, mine and your in 1 hour session. I think we are still going to disagree once in a while.
You better talk to my wife. She's been
Yes.
working on it for years.
Exactly, and the person who called you a goofball, whatever. So, I mean, you know, it's some things are not gonna change. I don't understand actually, yeah, what is she going to, now, if she can come in and help us, set up priorities on how we come up with it. But I think most of it is the work has already been done, looking at the goal 1, 2, 3. So I'm very open-minded. I'm not going in there with, oh, this is a waste of time. I'd love to go to retreats. Maybe you might even buy us dinner, who knows? But I just hope she doesn't get into games like as if none of us know each other. And I think that's the issue as I saw it. If she had come in when we were just starting, the board came in, that would I'd say, okay, we don't know, maybe we are learning a little bit about each other, of our styles of working. But she came in and, yeah, and what got me was retreat is not like the presentation you're making. Retreat is, we got to work out between us. I do have a couple of issues with my things with my fellow board members in terms of priorities and how they look at it. But those are things I work with them. I don't know how she can help me change their mind. That's not going to happen, and that's not her purpose. So
Adam has something to say.
Wonder,
go ahead.
I agree that I'm proud of the 5 of us. I'm confident the 5 of us, we don't agree all the time on everything, but I'm so proud of the way that we work together. However, I'm trying to think about this as when we're going through the year with our meetings, at these meetings, when it's, you know, a regular board meeting, we 5 are the ones who are running the meeting. That's our job. That's what we're here for. Staff supports us. I see this as an opportunity for it to be everyone in this room, plus the folks from staff who are not here, to be equally in that room together to help with that. And so what we 5, or at least we 3, agree on, I haven't heard as much from Ann and Willa, like, we might be all in agreement about that, but staff might have different feelings, and we might all be able to work together better if we get more on the same level with them. So I'm trying to keep an open mind about that.
That
part
is
of
good,
things.
and we did a little bit of that last
remember
night.
that.
All the staff was,
Right.
and I definitely got value from that.
Right.
And I would like to have a little more interaction. If she can come up with ways that staff can tell us where, where our goals, we are not, what we are not doing, what we could be doing better, I'm all for that.
I find disagreeing with each other, because we're all polite with each other, and I applaud all of you. We treat each other with respect and dignity like we're adults, that we've had previous experiences that we're bringing to the table. But I find when we disagree, those are when the real issues come to the surface, and we can deal with things that maybe we hadn't considered before. I think the disagreement's good, otherwise we would only need 1 board member.
I agree, yeah.
I agree with Adam. And I think even at that, there's a certain amount of continuity between staff and board. Because, this is my 5th year, and I've seen all of us grow, I take a look at, how smoothly, we went through, the hours of voting and the days of voting. There was a lot of contention going on at one time about that. And I think that everybody pulled together and gave in a little bit here, a little bit there. And so now, and we thought about, okay, let's do this early. Because I think a lot of it was our panic to get something done. And we didn't have a timeline that was practically impossible to follow. It wasn't anything interaction between us, but sometimes when you have those timelines, it stresses people. But, and I don't see that we need to do a whole lot of work on our interaction between the staff and the board. I just think that we are, I just think that if we participate and continue to do this, things will get even more, consistently good and everybody coming up with ideas and not putting anything out there that's so wild west, everybody in the room looking at you. I know that we have to have her in, I assume that. But, it would have to be something different for me, other than some of the things that we just, talked about, immediately, that we just finished talking about. It would have to be something really, really, I don't know, something really different that she's bringing to the table. Cause I don't know about other boards, but I think we do a good job. I think the staff does an excellent job. We do as good a job. Because number one, we're always truthful with one another. We don't have any agendas, more or less. And when you're in a company of people who don't really have agendas or personal agendas, you get the work done. And most times it works out well for the people that you're doing the job for, which is the citizens of Athens and Clarke County.
All right, you got that? Go back and watch the video.
It was a lot, but what I'm actually saying is, do we really need them?
Mhm.
I mean, I know it's on I know that we gotta have it, but I just don't. Yeah, it did. It felt like, thank you, Ann, say that out loud.
No,
Don't be shy now, go ahead and say it.
not like daycare.
I'd like to see a video of you conveying this to Patrice.
It was a nice place.
Yes, to do what, right?
Yeah. And that was the point I'm making too. Like, we're all grown people with our own experience. We don't need,
No, but these retreats
but,
do have a value because there are techniques you can run,
Right.
work on how to come up with conflicts. And sometimes they're very, very useful.
yeah, there's always room.
Negotiate. Teach us how to negotiate with others that we're dealing with.
Yeah,
Skills like that, not
I saw
what's the
something,
biggest planet.
because TikTok's the source of all information. I've seen this thing where there's a manager hiring an employee only if the person interviewing the employee can sell that person a bottle of water. So maybe some kind of other object that she pulls out of her bag, negotiating or say, just, there's always room for continuous improvement, even if we do get along well.
For growth. Yeah, for growth, but you have to give us something to grow back.
All right. Shall we move on? Go home?
Hey.
All right.
A second.
All right, announcements, February 6th, our retreat, Athens-Clarke County Library, 4:30 PM. Next regular meeting, February 13th, 4:30 PM, 120 West Doherty Street. The planning department, chair will entertain a motion to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
I.
Where is the retreat at the library?